Hello, everyone. I am so glad to see you again today. The idea, insight, or sales secret you need for massive impact is just moments away. It's time to get more clients. I'm Lynn Whitbeck, the host of Get More Clients, and welcome to the show. I have got such a great show in store for you today. Now, business owners and entrepreneurs hire me to ignite winning sales because most are chasing down leads, lack client retention, conversion, and profit. The mission of this show is to share Fortune 500 sales secrets to help you open the vault to your greater business success. Now, last week, I shared how to boost your sales with genuine introspection. And so today we're going to be looking outside and we're going to be talking to Jon Marino, and we're going to be discussing the 3 easy steps to make your market beg to do business with you. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about Jon. I want to say that Jon and I have known each other for years. He's just absolutely amazing. So if I gush, you'll know why. Jon is the founder of Q Simple. Aspiring entrepreneurs hire Jon to legitimize their side hustle with a credible online presence. With years of experience working with clients like Roger Love and Alex Mendozian, Jon combines expertise in copywriting, AI, marketing, and automation to empower aspiring entrepreneurs. Jon also plays a bad guitar, and you can see some in his background in there. So, Jon, I am so glad to have you with me today. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Lynn. It's such a wonderful opportunity to sit and be on your show with you and to serve your audience.
Well, this you really will be serving, because we're going to be talking about something that everyone needs for their business. When identifying your ideal clients, you build a path for them to seek you out and beg to do business with you.
Yeah.
And there are important keys that allow you to create an even bigger transformation for your clients. And Jon's going to reveal it's not what you think. So by the end of today's show, you're going to know the 19-word formula to have more clients than you know what to do with. I can't wait to hear this. And my favorite place on earth, but the Disney secret you can use to create irresistible offers for your ideal clients, and 3 types of villains that wreak havoc on your ideal client, and the best way to address each of them. And throughout today, we're going to be mapping your client transformation. And it's crucial that your ideal clients are certain you can help them on their path to success. So, Jon, let's get right into it. And I am absolutely fascinated with this 19-word formula to have more clients than you know what to do with. Hit me with it.
It's awesome, Lynn, because before I share the 19-word formula with you, it's something where I hired a speaking coach about, maybe a little bit over 6 months ago to help with a signature talk. And we're going through, and I had this quote, this wonderful quote, this 19-word quote in my presentation, and it was just kind of part of the presentation. And I realized we'd been working on this for maybe a month and a half already. And I realized I called him up. I said, Kyle, this is the whole presentation. This is the whole thing. The whole presentation could be summed up in these 19 words. And we were, kind of amazed that it was there the whole time. And it's a quote by someone who I hold in very high regard. He's someone who teaches people how to serve their audience by being a trusted advisor rather than kind of a salesperson to them. And his name is Jay Abraham. He's known as the $1 Billion Man. And Jay has helped all these different businesses grow and grow. And he's brought in probably billions of dollars, is why he's called the $1 Billion Man. And the formula is, if you can define the problem better than your target customer, they will automatically assume you have the solution. And so the key in the whole thing is to not only know your target customer, but know them so well and know their problems so well that they know that you know it better than them. that you can predict what's going to happen next, that you're going to be able to tell them the things that they might not even admit to themselves. And that's really the formula, Lynn.
Wow. Well, I mean, can you go in a little deeper on these 19 words and how you put this together?
Well, sure. So the key words inside the quote are problem, target customer, and solution, right?
Okay.
So first, in any business training, in any startup sort of thing, and when you create a new offer, you're always taught, and in my opinion, you should always start with who, not what necessarily. And it's getting deep into that target customer, knowing not only demographics and what books they read and things like that, but going really deep and into the things that a lot of people say, what keeps them up at night and their biggest concerns and their biggest worries. But we go even deeper when we do analyses like this into our target customer. And the reason is we're trying to really understand the challenges and issues that our target customers have that they might not even admit to themselves. And that's what we found is the biggest key, because everybody will tell you symptoms of a problem, and that's kind of the surface level issues that people have and the surface level challenges people have. But it's really the core problem that lies beneath all of that that helps to heal or to cure the problem, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
then, once we're able to articulate that, and usually we're using metaphor and story to talk to these different things, that is something that the reader or the viewer can identify with. And then that's when we can say, hey, we understand it. We're demonstrating we understand their challenge and their problem. And then we offer a solution that aligns with the problem they're having to help them break free from that problem, whether it's to achieve something that they're after or to escape the pain that they feel in that moment.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. And of course, really diving into the psychographics, of your ideal client, your target customer is one of the most helpful. Demographics change, people move, they get older, they do
Absolutely.
whatever. However, with the psychographics, a lot of times there's some core um, parts of their values and beliefs that don't change or change very little. And that those are the types of things that you can connect with and speak to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. We found that a lot of the challenges people in general, business owners especially, myself included, the ones that we're challenged with the most are the ones that shaped our lives when we were very, very young. A very smart copywriter, Paris Lamkropoulos, he told me one time, he said, Jon, we're just adults walking, or we're just giant children walking around in adult suits. And so when we're able to address these things that have become, they served us at the time when we were children a lot of times, and then they don't serve us anymore, and they kind of hold us back. And that's where things show up, where business owners, salespeople, they have to, go after it, and they know they have to go after it, but they're not feeling motivated to do it, or they're lost in this feeling of having to have it right, having to have it exactly dialed in. And I struggled with this for a long time myself, is having to have everything dialed in so tight and so right on and so perfect and so over the top, like without any error or anything like that, uh, it freezes you, it keeps you stuck. And what's happened for me is, I just didn't want to be found out. I didn't want to be called out for something, publicly or whatever that might not align with what somebody else thinks. And it kept me stuck for so long, Lynn. It kept me in a state of paralysis. And so, when I can share stories like that, some of the people who are watching this right now, you might be feeling like you can identify with that. And that's kind of some of the things I identified in myself, but that's some of the things that often comes up with our clients, ideal target clients.
Oh yeah, well, perfectionism is prevalent in so many different ways. So, and I agree with you how that can keep you stuck or hold back, and you just have to, you know, get back into why is that happening to you. And I know that I talked about that last week on the introspection show. So, but moving forward, I'm gonna just, I'm excited to hear about the Disney secret that you can use to create irresistible offers for your ideal clients. So I'm going
Well,
to push us back on track.
you want
I
to
want to
push us
hear
back in?
about this. I want to
It's
hear
awesome.
about it.
Well, it's really this idea that a lot of times in business and in sales, we want to be the hero to our target customer. And we got the thing and we're coming in to swoop in to save the customer or client, and I don't believe that anymore. I used to believe that, and I think a lot of people still do believe that. And and the thing is that you're not the hero in your client's story. They are.
Yeah.
They're the hero. And the thing that makes a really spectacular story, when I ask this in person, I hear, well, it's the drama in a story, or it's the tension in a story, or it's, the the thing that the hero must overcome, or whatever it is. And while that might be true, there's always one good thing that makes a really, really good story, and that's the villains. That's the villains in the story. And that's the notable things inside of the Disney stories. The villains are the ones that are stirring up the trouble. They're the ones that create the conflict. They create the drama and the tension. They're the things that keep you at the edge of your seat. And they're the things that keep you coming back for more. That's why, the Disney films, a lot of times we don't remember the Prince Charmings, but we do remember the wicked stepsisters, and we do remember Ursula and Scar and all these really nasty, nasty villains. And the more dastardly the bad guy, the more chaos they create for the hero, the more we're glued to the screen and the better the story is. So if we can take that idea and think, okay, in our client's story, if we're not the hero, who are we? That's a question we need to answer. And the next question we need to answer is, who are the villains? Because we want to create, we want to help the hero create a really amazing story. We want to help our client create an amazing, amazing story. And so what you find out is, what I found out anyway, when I started looking at this, is the villains in your client's story, the villains are the problems. So we need to really write those up. We need to build those up and make them kind of dramatic, kind of bigger than life, and talk about how much they suck, and talk about how painful it is, and let them know, hey, I get it. I understand your pain. I know what you're after. I know the goal you want, and I know the pain, and I know this villain that you're up against. And then you come in as the guide or the mentor inside the hero's journey story. You come in as the guide to the hero and lead them to overcome the villain. And that's how we look at it, Lynn. We look at it like, I'm not the hero, you're the hero. Let me help you. Let me guide you where you're going.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense because, when you're working with clients and, we're in, you know, sales and marketing, right? But in the marketing and the sales side, often, it is the client who they make the choices, they guide the story, their experience, their journey. Um, and you're helping them along the way to avoid the pitfalls, to assess risks, or to understand what the different options are. And out the whole time they are ultimately trying to overcome one or two or three really big problems that they're trying to get past in their business. So I love this analogy and how this all ties together. And you had me going back and thinking about the Disney movies and the people who are playing those guides, like the three fairies and Snow White. There
Right.
you have this amazing villain of Maleficent.
Mhm.
And they are acting as the guide, right,
Yeah,
for Sleeping Beauty's story.
that's right.
Although in that case, that's an interesting one because they're also the guide for the prince in that story, and Prince Philip, right? It's
Right.
really fascinating. I love
It's so
this
fun.
comparison.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah.
The more you take this analogy, the more you look at not only Disney movies, but any great movie,
Yeah.
you know. One of the interesting things when I started thinking about it in this way, I started thinking about character development in stories. And I started thinking about you know, for example, Walter White from Breaking Bad, this character. Okay, now you may or may not love that show. A lot of people love that show, and they know Walter White, but they're according to the interview I saw, that it was about 300 pages of character development into Walter White before they even put the pen to the paper to write the pilot. Okay, Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird, over 100 pages of character development, right? So if we're helping to guide the hero, well, boy, we should do the character development. We should go deep into the character and really, really understand who they are, so we understand their problems and go deep into their problems, because the 19-word formula says if you can understand your target customer's problems better than they do, then they will assume you have the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually immediately thought of Die Hard. I the best Christmas movie ever, but
It's awesome.
it's always so funny how many people watch that movie then. But
That's right.
because of the villain there, Hans, and oh my goodness, I immediately thought about how that worked in and all the information that you need in the hero story. So let's talk about the villains now, because of course
Okay.
Disney is famous for their villains. I mean, we're
Sure.
on villains, but there's all kinds of villains. I
Sure.
just mentioned Hans. I mean, I'm sure there's villains in the series that you were talking about, which I've heard about. I've actually never watched. Okay, spoiler alert, never watched. So 3 types of villains that wreak havoc on your ideal client, and then the best way to address them. So let's first unpack those 3 types of villains and what they're doing that they're wreaking havoc.
Absolutely. So when we sit down with our with someone, for what we call an offer opportunity and alignment session, we're looking at these types of things. We're finding out, the information about their customers and clients, and we're finding out what they perceive their problems are. And then our team kind of goes to work. And what we look at is we look at the 3 types of villains that you had mentioned. And we're looking for the first one. I'll just tell you what they are in order, and then I'll tell you a little bit about them. Okay. The first one is the surface villains. Okay. The hidden villains, and then the subconscious villains. And so the surface villains, I'll tell you a little bit about each of them. The surface villains, they're the obvious hurdles that your client is facing. They're the symptoms of the problem in most cases. They're kind of like the tip of the iceberg. There's the surface issues, but then there's the deeper things, and that's what the other villains are. Most business owners and salespeople, I believe they stop here with the surface villains. They can identify those. I'm chronically late, I have motivation problems, things like this. The hidden villains, these are the walls. These are the tougher issues that sometimes your clients or customers, they might be hesitant to share. Maybe it's embarrassing. Maybe it's fear of being judged for having this problem that's holding them back. But the thing is if you approach it directly, if you come at your client and say, I think you're having this problem, they might be resistant to it, and they might brush it off, is what might happen. The next is the subconscious villains. These are like the sneaky obstacles that your clients might not even know. They're like the twigs with the leaves over it, and they're walking across and they fall in the hole. They're the tripwire. They don't even realize they're facing these a lot of times. And these are the deeply rooted issues and challenges that your clients and customers, they'll probably flat out reject these ideas. Okay. So we identify these types of things, and then would you like to share a little bit about how we address them when we're
Yeah.
like writing copy and stuff? Okay. So we want to address the surface level villains by speaking directly to those issues. You know, these are the things that your clients are most vocal about anyway. So you can show them empathy and show your understanding, that you understand what they're going through. And it's kind of like, it's sort of like nodding along to your favorite song, right? You're just there, you're just present. But for the deeper issues, we rely on stories and metaphors. And I alluded to it a little bit earlier. That we use stories and metaphors. We use client stories. We use allegory and metaphor to share these ideas. And I'll often bring up things in quotes as well. I'll say things like I was talking to so and so, and what they said is this. So it's kind of like holding up a mirror to your client. So you're not making them feel bad. You're not making them feel judged. You're allowing them to save face, and you're letting them to you're leading them to recognize the challenges they're having without feeling called out, without feeling judged. The unconscious or the subconscious ones, they're the trickiest to address. And really it's subtle, it's relatable examples. It's similar to the other, but you're trying to lead them kind of to an aha moment. It's more like planting a seed than showing a mirror. It's not forcing awareness. It's really about creating the conditions for them to experience a self-discovery. Right. So that's how that's the three different types of villains, and how we address each inside of our research and our copy.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see how this is all interconnected. And I was thinking about a situation where that encounter that I think is that the last. It's the one that's the deep issue where people just, they honestly, they just don't feel like they deserve something,
Oh my
or
gosh. Yeah.
they're and I mean, we call that imposter syndrome.
Hmm.
If it's but it can be that intense,
Yeah.
but it can also be at other levels. But there's something there, or there's something else that is um preventing them from, and often, as you said, it can be something that's been learned from childhood.
Yeah.
But it is that moment where sometimes you're just going along and you go, oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
And you've been helping them, that they can, and as you build the relationship, of course, they can bring that out. But when you are identifying your own ideal client, trying to work through some of these really deep seated, is sometimes when I'm working with clients, certainly in the area of sales, there is a deep fear of failure, of 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 losing face, of the disgrace of having to close their business, that they've invested all this time, energy, money, and it just didn't work,
Yeah.
right? And that can be um a real struggle
Yeah.
about the failure. And it's not just, there's something deeper than that that's going on. But that is the type of, I would say, deep fear, or would you call
It
that more of
is.
that intermediate?
Um, it can be one of those subconscious fears. I know for me, when I heard about this idea years ago about a fear of success, rather, I was like, why would somebody think that? Why? I can't believe that. Like, and I was really kind of in disbelief, sort of maybe a little judgmental about it. And then as the years went on, it was like, wait a minute, dude, you need to go back and reevaluate that for yourself. Um, and I learned there's different layers to our mind. Okay, Lynn. And I learned this from my dear friend Michael Stevenson. He teaches people about the mind and how to use the mind and leverage the mind to really get in alignment with what you want And one of the things he taught me, these layers of the mind, is the identity is the top layer of the mind. And underneath it, way underneath, is behaviors, right? So there's all these different layers, and we can talk about it another time if you want to, but there's all these different layers, and the behaviors need to align with all of the layers all the way up to the identity, which there's, I think there's 5 in between those two, 4 or 5. And the challenge was my behavior was not in alignment with my identity, right? So I was identifying as somebody who wanted a successful business, and my behaviors were not aligning. And that's where that fear of success was coming from for me, because I didn't feel like I deserved it. I didn't feel like, well, why would anybody want to talk to me? I didn't think I had valuable information to share with people. I didn't think I could serve people. I didn't think all these different things, Lynn, and it was paralyzing for me for the longest time. And, I worked through all that. It took a lot of time and self-discovery and journaling and working with people and talking with people and all kinds of different things. But I know there's viewers out there that watch your show. I know someone's watching right now and they're like, boy, maybe I can look at that for myself, or maybe my target clients are feeling that. And I didn't even realize that as a possibility. And that's what I'm talking about these villains, and how do you address those? And that's what we do. That's how we help people to have more clients than they know what to do with, and have their ideal clients saying, hey, you really can help me. And I want to work with you. And to say, what do we have to do? What's it look like to work with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, Jon. Thank you so much for sharing 3 easy steps to make your market beg to do business with you. And I really appreciate your being on the show today.
I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I know we had planned to do this. Boy, Lynn, it must have been months and months, and we finally aligned and made it happen.
Absolutely. And it was months and months. So I want to let everyone know that all of Jon's contact information is going to be in our show notes. I want you to reach out to Jon. We have also, he has 2 amazing resources that we'll have links to that are on his website. The first one is 50 questions to unmask your ideal customer, and this 3-step formula to decode your ideal client's language and create offers they can't resist.
That's right. That's
So
where we go deeper. Yeah, we go deeper into the same things we talked about today.
yeah, isn't that amazing? So we're going to drop those links so everybody has access to them. And for everyone who tuned in, thank you so much for being here. I would love to hear about your biggest takeaway from this episode. It is important to support the things you love. And if you loved this episode, a 5-star review really helps keep the podcast coming to you and the show coming to you regularly. Also, if you want to get more sales strategies to grow your business, make sure you subscribe right now, because that way you can hear and be introduced to these amazing guests like Jon. Now, today, Jon and I explored 3 easy steps to make your market beg to do business with you. And the key is for you to implement these steps to stop wasting time, energy, and resources. And if you want to get results even faster, I invite you to download my sales strategy checklist at petitetoqueen.com/checklist. And next week on Get More Clients, this is going to tie in perfectly with what Jon and I have been discussing today. We're going to talk about clarity from introspection, how to find your hidden superpowers. So this has been Lynn Whitbeck, host of Get More Clients, and the amazing Jon Marino. I'll see you next time.